win, trying to get the Bombers into a hole early.
Yeah, that's their choice at the beginning of the football game, and I think that Bud Riley wants to pin them deep, hold them in there, and put points on the board, force Winnipeg to come back.
J.T. Hay waiting for that signal, and the game is underway. The kick not going as deep as he really wanted, and Sean Keogh on the return to the sidelines and out to the 32-yard line. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will scrimmage 1st and 10 there with Tom Clements directing the attack. The Winnipeg lineup basically the same as it was last week in defeating the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The only change for Winnipeg will be defensively, and we'll tell you about that in just a moment. The ball is positioned at the 30-yard line. It's 1st and 10 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That flanker screen intended for James Murphy, incomplete. The Calgary Stampeders hustled after that football, somewhat reminiscent of the way the Ottawa Rough Riders scooped one up for a touchdown.
Well, the Calgary defensive line, Vince Goldsmith's second game last week. Defensive player of the game, we thought. 2 sacks. The linebackers, Mark Nelson in there in the secondary. The only change is Richie Hall's back in the lineup. Hopkins moves to the corner.
Second and 10. The ball at the 30-yard line. Clements under pressure, and he is dropped back at the 20-yard line. James Walker and Gene Belleville applied the pressure. As a matter of fact, I think Walker threw one of the would-be blockers right back into the quarterback.
Well, there's no doubt about it that this is what the Stampeders wanted to happen when they elected to kick off. And as you say, he threw him right back at Tom Clements. Belleville forced him out of there, and Walker knocked him down. And Walker's got 5 sacks for the Stampeders, and Bob Cameron's as good a punter against the wind, and he's going to get a test right away.
The Calgary Stampeders should wind up with pretty good field position, as Rufus Cox and Tag Rome are back for this 3rd down kick by Bob Cameron. Rufus Cox takes it at his own 53, and he drives to the Winnipeg 51, where he's brought down by Scott Flagel. So the Stampeders will be scrimmaging at the Winnipeg 51-yard line. Joe Barnes, who leads in passing statistics in total yardage and most completions. They made changes offensively along the line for the game against British Columbia. Bud Riley is staying with the same troops for this game with Winnipeg. Completing the pass to Lewis Walker for a 1st down. Darrell Patterson from his linebacking position came in to make the tackle, but it's a big gain.
Well, we see Winnipeg, John Sturdivant's back in. That's the change Winnipeg has made. Tyrone Jones, the leader in the linebackers, with 5 sacks, and Joe Jackson's back in there. Secondary is solid, 10 interceptions on the year.
That was a gain of 14. It is 1st and 10. The ball is at the Winnipeg 36.5. Barnes throwing deep. Incomplete. It was intended for Emmanuel Tolbert. Riley Turner was covering on the play.
Well, what makes this play successful is watch number 69, the guard, Dave Kersinger, has just moved in. He'll pull on the bootleg, and he'll make an excellent block and cut down the Winnipeg pass rusher, Tyrone Jones. Bang, that allows Joe Barnes to get outside, and now he's got no problem, just a little bit too far.
2nd and 10, Calgary. The ball is at the Winnipeg 36. This game just underway with 12:52 still to play in the opening quarter. Barnes fires the strike, and Tag Rome should have the 1st down. David Shaw came in to make the stop, but not before Rome got to the 25-yard line, and it is a Calgary 1st down.
Well, I talked to Bud Riley yesterday, had a long talk with him. He was very happy naturally after that game last week. What he thought was the best part of the game is he said he wanted 60 minutes, and he got it from every guy on the bench.
And the Stampeders picking up where they left off last week as Joe Barnes is moving the club. They are in scoring position. Lewis Walker was caught immediately by John Sturdivant. Sturdivant has been out of the lineup since being hurt back late in July in a game against the Edmonton Eskimos.
They've tried a couple people in there, but it's always nice to have the guy that was there last year when you won it all, get him in there and makes a big play right away, gets him in that second and long situation.
That game against Edmonton taking place on the 25th of July, a month ago. Second and 11. Pressure, but Barnes runs to his right, throws back into the middle. It's incomplete. Scott Flago got over there to bat that pass away, but there's a penalty flag on the play. It appeared as though Joe Jackson may have been offside.
Well, these are the things that really hurt a football team because they'd have forced them to kick the field goal. Now they get another shot at it.
Offside, Winnipeg 37, second down.
Winnipeg offside, Calgary, second and
Well, they put the finger on Frank Robinson, but Joe Jackson was also moving from his outside linebacking position. And the Calgary Stampeders get another chance. Second and 5, and it's incomplete. Rufus Cox was underthrown by Joe Barnes. And that prompts Bud Riley to send out the field goal unit.
That was one of those passes where I know Danny Barrett looked back. He thought maybe it was to him, but it was behind him, so he wasn't going to catch it. But Cal Murphy will be happy. He wanted him to have to kick the field goal. He didn't want him getting in for the touchdown, and as a result, that penalty didn't really hurt him too much.
J.T. Hay will be kicking this one from 28 yards out. Kick is good, and the Calgary Stampeders are first on the board this afternoon at Winnipeg Stadium with 10:55 left in the opening quarter. Joe Barnes in passing statistics leads the CFL with 1,997 yards and in completions with 147. Of course, that big game, 35 out of 50 last Saturday against the British Columbia Lions. Tom Clements struggled last Sunday afternoon against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Boy, that's for sure. I couldn't understand it. That's twice in the two games against Hamilton. Maybe Hamilton's got his number because in the game right here at Winnipeg Stadium, he struggled against them. You know, right now he's going to feed Willard Reeves the ball. They got to check out that running game shortly.
Clements going deep. The catch is made, and Jerome Erdman is down to the 34-yard line. Stopped there by Greg Peterson.
Well, you notice he checked that running game out in a hurry, didn't he? He just laid it right down the middle to Jerome Erdman. A great throw and a good catch. Try to see what Calgary's doing. They're dropping that middle linebacker out of there, and he gives a lot of time. Excellent job by the line, and Jerome Erdman gets in behind the linebackers. Nice catch, big gain.
41 yards as Jerome Erdman carries to the Calgary 34, first and 10 Winnipeg. Fake to Willard Reeves. And Sean Kehoe has a gain of 7, stopped there by Mark Nelson.
Well, when you see Mark Nelson, the middle linebacker, have to cover the back out in the flat, a good play-action fake, and he can't get out there. It's just a long way to run, and you can't really condemn a linebacker for that. Slipping and falling and still held on to the football, and Mark Nelson finally arrives, but I know Winnipeg will take 6 yards on first down.
I think the field might be just a bit slippery as a result of a lot of rain that has fallen on Winnipeg this month. As a matter of fact, an all-time record as far as total rainfall goes. Willard Reeves gets inside the 25-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down, depending upon where they position this football. Pat Cantner had replaced Sean Kehoe coming in from the bench, probably with a call for quarterback Tom Clements.
I think it's a little bit short. I saw Jerome Erdman, who's coming off the field, kind of give about a 6 or 7 inches short signal to the bench. So I think they'll go get it.
Pat Langdon has come in with Erdman out. The short yardage offense, gambling on third and less than 1. Clements will keep. He puts his head down and drives through. He should have the first down. That quarterback just slides in behind the guards in the center. It's pretty tough to stop.
Well, while he's calling signals, he's looking right in there to find a soft spot, and he sees a little bit of a hole, and then just get in behind that guy because he's going to come off the football, and you just get in and hide. It's like Clements is hurting a little bit. I see Huffnagel putting on the helmet. It's a little bit early, but that's the way it goes.
It appears as though Clements has hurt the elbow on his right arm, and of course that could be very bad news for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as that is his throwing arm.
Well, let's see there. He's got the ball.
And in that pileup, he may have had that arm just bent back a little.
I was thinking, you know, either bent back under there or a real good hit in the shoulder will sometimes cause your arm to go numb for a couple seconds, and we'll see what happens. He's rubbing it a little bit. Maybe the feeling's coming back. Quarterbacks are tough. He'll be back.
So John Huffnagel comes into the ball game, and I know there's one viewer this afternoon back in Ancaster, Ontario, who will be very pleased with this.
Yeah. He went down to Hamilton last week and had a nice visit with Huffnagel and Steele and Pat Cantner, all the guys that he knows, and that's my son. He loves them.
First and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 23 of Calgary. Calgary leads 3-0. Huffnagel into the slot to Poplawski. He makes the catch, but cannot maintain his balance, and he's taken out of bounds by Greg Peterson.
That's a great feeling for a quarterback to be called into action that soon in a ball game when you're not expecting it, then to go in and hit the first pass you throw. That usually gets you off to a good start.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are fortunate in that they have two quarterbacks, both of whom could be starters.
I would say they are starters. I think if Cal had to start John Huffnagel, it wouldn't bother him a bit.
Second and 4, Willard Reeves trying to spin off tackles, and he is man-hand held up by Greg Peterson after the initial contact was made by Mark Nelson.
I just looked down on the bench, and Clements is throwing, so I think he's okay, and he'll probably be back in there next series, but they're going to have to take a look at this. It's a decision time already, and it looks to me like they're going to go after it.
Well, the fans react favorably as Tom Clements continues to test that injured right arm. Pat Langdon goes in, the short yardage offense. Third and 2, the Bombers gambling. Cantner in there for Sean Keogh. With time into the end zone, touchdown for Poplawski.
You know what? That really wasn't who Huffnagel wanted. He wanted Pat Cantner in the flat, and the Stampeders jumped on him and turned Poplawski wide open. The man that's behind Poplawski was really covering the outside receiver, so they turned the wrong guy loose. But it's a great play for the Bombers.
So in just 7 plays, with Tom Clements and John Huffnagel sharing the quarterbacking chores, the Bombers score the touchdown, the point after by Trevor Kennard. And we'll be back with the Winnipeg kickoff. Winnipeg now kicking off as Trevor Kennard has it hang in the air. Lewis Walker fumbles the ball, but he managed to pounce on it as Vernon Paul was there. So was Ken Haley looking for that elusive football. Had Walker not been able to grab it back.
We'll take another look at the touchdown right now. You see Cantner go in motion. Now Huffnagel fakes to Reeves, and he would love to throw to Cantner because he only needs 2 yards, but he's covered. So now he has to look downfield and watch Joe Poplawski. Nobody is really with him. Darryl Moyer had to try to get over there, but too late. Great move for the Bombers.
First and 10, Calgary from the 37-yard line. Barnes dumps it off to Greg Figger. There's a penalty flag on the play. John Sturdivant had quarterback Joe Barnes wrapped up.
It's too bad for Sturdivant. He's going to get called, I think, for grabbing the face mask, but as he was being blocked and he spun his back, he just reached his hand out to grab whatever he could, and as a result, he got the face mask.
Major foul, face mask, 57 on Winnipeg, first down.
You see, Sturdivant's got his back turned, so he's just going to reach out and grab whatever he can, and no doubt about it, grabbing that face mask, and the referee's right there.
So the penalty gives Calgary a first down at the 53-yard line. Barnes for Tolbert, first down to the Winnipeg 35. This has been a very effective combination for the Calgary Stampeders last week against British Columbia and again this afternoon against Winnipeg. Scott Flagel and David Shaw bringing down Emmanuel Tolbert. A 22-yard gain, first and 10 Calgary from the Winnipeg 35. Barnes throwing deep. Intended for Rufus Cox, incomplete. Roy Bennett was covering over on that left corner. Barnes was going to test the rookie cornerback, Roy Bennett, early.
Well, you got to test him sooner or later, and also Winnipeg tried to come with that halfback blitz and sent Haley from the outside, but as a plus for Calgary, they happened to be faking that way, so there was a back to pick them up.
Second and 10, the ball just outside the 35-yard line. 7-3, Winnipeg leads, 5:46 with time remaining in this opening quarter. Barnes throwing for Rome, incomplete. Just off the fingertips of Tag Rome, who was being covered by David Shaw.
I saw Wiley Turner and David Shaw looking at one another, doing a little talking, coming back there. It looked like they almost had a collision, and that's why Tag Rome was so free coming across the middle. You see Wiley Turner, he's getting in David Shaw's way, and look how open Tag Rome is. And again, the ball got up in that wind, just sailed on him.
And David Shaw, as you said, turned around immediately to talk to Wiley Turner to have the discussion about the coverage on that particular passing attempt. The field goal by J.T. Hay is good as the Calgary Stampeders move within a point.
Note the special starting time for CFL 85, 7 Eastern.
Yes, where has the summer gone? Labor Day, and that game a week tomorrow, Montreal at Hamilton. We hope you'll be joining us for that Labor Day engagement from Ivor Wynne Stadium, the Concord, the leaders in the Eastern Conference against the Tiger Cats. First and 10, Willard Reeves on the draw play to the 38-yard line, a pickup of 3. It will be second and 7. Gene Beliveau had a hand in the stop of Willard Reeves. Reeves had been the rushing leader, but that title relinquished last night to Keevan Jenkins of the British Columbia Lions. Willard, who led all CFL running backs last year, would like to get it back with a big performance this afternoon. Clements throws for James Murphy, first down Winnipeg.
Good. Well, Murphy didn't do anything fancy. I know Cal Murphy was telling us before the game, he just wants those 4 receivers to drive those defensive backs off and hook inside, and that's all he did, and Clements found him.
First and 10 from the 47, 4:01 remaining in this opening quarter. Winnipeg in front, 7-6. Clements firing into the Jeff Boyd for a first down at the 47-yard line. Shot by Rowan Hopkins.
Well, we talked about the hook on the previous play. All you do is just give it a little different look, play action it. Look, he goes down, turns to the inside, come back and catch the football, another first down.
The Stampeders persist with this type of defense. You might see Clements throwing that hook all afternoon.
Well, what they'll try to do is try to get a guy outside, and when they do that, he'll go inside. So there's somebody going to be open on those hooks if you got time to find them.
Willard Reeves hit at the line of scrimmage. He's having a tough time trying to run against this Calgary Stampeder front four. Randy Troutman was the man who slowed him down. Actually, Calgary has been very effective against the run this year.
That defense of theirs is an awful good unit. And, you know, up front, those 4 guys up front, we remember back early in the season when we did a game and Jack Goddard was saying he thought they were the second-best defense in the league. And, you know, they get away with only rushing 4 guys. They don't blitz that much. So, you know, they have to play well against the run.
Clements on second down for Boyd. He's got it. Touchdown.
Well, you know, this is where a veteran quarterback was going to take advantage of a situation. He had been running Boyd down and hooking him to the inside. Boyd went down, turned to the inside, and then broke back deep away from the defensive back, and look how far he got behind him. That defensive back wants to come up and play that hook. He opened himself up to this type of pattern, and that can be the result.
So Hufnagel has a touchdown throw. Clemens has one, and Trevor Kennard adds the point after. And with 2:43 remaining in this opening quarter, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers extend their lead to 14-6. Let's take another look at the reception by Jeff Boyd.
Well, Hopkins did recover pretty well. He got back out there on him, but when the receiver like Boyd gets the opportunity to turn and face the quarterback, he can see the ball in the air, and he made a better adjustment than Hopkins, and then was an easy jaunt into the end zone.
Jeff Boyd was out of the Winnipeg lineup for one game, that game against the Edmonton Eskimos, as the result of an injury just 5 days before that July 25th date against the Toronto Argonauts. James Hood took his spot against Edmonton and played pretty well, but Boyd was back the following week, and James Hood has been watching ever since.
You can almost bet, too, that Boyd was watching that game, and when Hood plays well, you seem to get healthy a little bit faster. Don't ever let a guy take your job.
The Blue Bombers attempt a short kickoff. Yes, they do. But it will not travel far enough.
Well, they had the right idea, but it's got to go 10 yards, and as a result, Calgary will probably take possession right at that spot at midfield. Little short kick to the right, but watch it. It gets up in that wind, and it just stopped. And Winnipeg know they can't touch the ball, so they're hoping maybe it'll take the forward bounce, but it doesn't, and as a result, they give up excellent field position.
Both Scott Flagel and Ken Haley were there for that short kickoff attempt by Trevor Kennard, but it just hung up in that wind and did not travel the required 10 yards. So Calgary takes over at the Winnipeg 50-yard line. 2:31 remaining in this first quarter. The pass incomplete, intended for Emmanuel Tolbert.
He's got a good rush from Joe Jackson, but again, I think Joe Barnes is having a little bit of trouble with that wind because when the ball's getting up in the air, it's sailing. Here comes the linebacker.
The hit on Barnes by Jackson just as the Calgary quarterback threw the football. 2nd and 10 from the 50. This time Barnes is going to be chased. He gets the pass away to Greg Figger, and he's caught by Scott Flagel. Well, John Sturdivant has returned to the Winnipeg lineup, and he is certainly making his presence felt.
Well, you know, there's nothing a defensive end likes better than getting a quarterback anyway, and especially when you've been off for a couple games, you want to make sure that when you get back in there, that your presence is felt. Well, he's made his presence felt in his first quarter. 2 times he's got to Joe Barnes. See him chased out of the pocket. He gets hold of him, forces him to drop it off, and in a man-to-man coverage, Flagel was waiting on Figger.
1:49 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. Winnipeg in front by a score of 14-6. They were trying to block that punt by J.T. Hay as they only had one man back. This is Glenn Steele, and he is stopped at the 18-yard line. A 55-yard kick by J.T. Hay, and Glenn Steele, the University of British Columbia product, who this year returned to punt for a touchdown, gets it back out to the 18-yard line where Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10.
I know Tom Clements is looking at that clock and sees 1 minute and 36 seconds in this quarter, so he wants to make a first down. But if they do have to punt it, they get the win. The offensive line coach, John Lowry, having a little meeting on how they're going to block that Winnipeg defense.
Fake to Willard Reeves. Complete. Oh, out of the arms of Joe Poplawski.
Willard Reeves fooled me. I thought he had the football. I figured they'll run the draw, and then I'm looking at Willard jump around in there, and all of a sudden Clemens throws it downfield, and he surprised him.
And Poplawski surprised me. I thought he had the ball.
Maybe Clemens didn't tell him he wasn't giving it to him.
2nd and 10. coming, and Tom Clements had no chance back at the 6-yard line.
Well, you can't see Carpenter. He's inside, but he gets to the outside position, and when he comes through there, there's just nobody. Clements looks like he'll outrun the inside, but when you get that man upfield, the quarterback's in a lot of trouble. You saw him drop his head and get down low. Don't take the hit from that man. He's too big.
Well, that's not your video writer, Ron, but a lot of X's and O's over at that Calgary Stampeder bench.
It looks a little more organized than my video writer.
Bob Cameron punting from the end zone into the wind. He gets away a pretty good kick. Tag Rome takes it at the 45-yard line, and Rome is stopped at the 39 by John Bonk, the center. That last blitz by Carpenter was made a little easier, I think, with Mark Nelson coming up the middle, forcing Clements out of there and right into the arms of Carpenter.
Well, they line their linebackers up inside, and then they start moving when Winnipeg shows a little bit of motion, and that gets Nelson in position to go, and it gets Carpenter in the position to contain. So they had the ideal defense called at the right time.
Then it was Tony Norman coming from the other side who finished off the job.
Well, we saw those statistics earlier on Winnipeg's comparison this year, and maybe their defense is not quite up to where it was last year because of the changes, but if they continue at this rate against the wind, they'll have a pretty good defensive performance on the day.
The two defensive ends had a meeting at the quarterback. Sturdivant and Tony Norman. Here's a blitz coming from Wiley Turner. The ball fumbled. Picked up by Tony Norman. But I believe it's going to be brought back. Wiley Turner was blitzing from his halfback position, and Joe Barnes had no chance.
And you know what? Joe Barnes saw Wiley Turner coming.
And that's the end of the opening. Hay will be kicking into the wind, and Glenn Steele fields the ball at the 20-yard line. And he is stopped at the 32. Steve Carpenter was there to make the tackle. The Calgary Stampeders were facing a 3rd and 30 situation. Two big defensive plays by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and now Tom Clements will operate with the wind at his back for the first time.
Well, this is what he wants. You know, he's got the 14-6 lead starting the second quarter. Right now, if you get that offense cooking in high gear, he can put this game out of reach, because it's going to be tough to move against that wind for Calgary.
Boyd comes wide to the left. Murphy splits to the right. Clements jumps it off to Sean Kehoe. A pickup of 7 yards, stopped by Mark Nelson.
That's what Tom Clements does the best. Take the ball from center, quick sprint, make a quick read, and just get rid of it. He throws well on the run as it is, and, you know, he can read as well as any quarterback in the league. He found that open man in a hurry.
They spot the ball at the 39, so it will be 2nd and 2, Winnipeg. Winnipeg leading by a score of 14-6. The pitch to Willard Reeves, and Willard Reeves finds an opening and then bowls over a couple of defensive backs, including Darryl Moyer, for a first down.
Willard Reeves carried the ball.
That was a big play. I don't know if we'll see it, but there's a good block by Nick Vestaya right here, and he kicks out the defensive end, James Walker, and then Reeves, the good back that he is, cuts inside. Jerome Erdman downfield. Good job. He screens Richie Hall. That's all he wants to do.
1st and 10, Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers at their own 53. Clements got away from Carpenter and throws deep, incomplete. Intended for James Murphy. And I think James Murphy might be coming back to the huddle and telling the quarterback he should have caught that one.
I think he'll come back with his head down in the huddle. He's not going to look at the quarterback when you drop one that wide open. Just it looked to me like he had his hands backwards, you know, instead of just cradling it in as he usually does. Looks like he fought it a little bit, and when you do that, you'll drop it.
2nd and 10 from the 53. The fake to Reeves. The pass complete to Kehoe. There's also a penalty flag on the play. Kehoe will be very close to a first down, but there is a penalty flag, and it will go against Winnipeg, a holding violation against the Blue Bombers.
Well, you see him marching it back. There's no doubt they take this penalty. Don't give them the chance. They would have only been about a half a yard short, so this way it'll be 2nd and 20.
Holding. Number 59 on Winnipeg. 2nd down.
Lyle Bauer guilty of holding. Look at those statistics. 138 yards in offense for Winnipeg, 48 for Calgary. In the minus category are the Stampeders in the rushing department. Second down over. The pass for James Murphy. Incomplete. He was fighting with Larry Holt for that ball, and Holt managed to knock it away.
That's not a bad call by a quarterback on a 2nd and 20 situation. It's going to be tough to hit inside and get your 20 yards, so you just say one-on-one outside. I'm going to throw it. If they intercept it, it's as good as a punt. A little bit of a jump ball. Just see who can go up and get it. Good defense by Murphy.
Well, Bob Cameron spent the first quarter kicking into the wind. Let's see how he does with the wind at his back. Trying to angle it out of bounds, and he does. Tagrom has no chance for a run back as he makes. Two teams are on the field at Olympic Stadium in Montreal right now. The Expos are leading in the 7th inning by a score of 5-0. Intended for Lewis Walker. Off his fingertips, incomplete.
Well, Joe Barnes, you know, for a team that's 1 win and 5 losses, it's amazing. He's hitting 61% of his passes, and he's leading the CFL in everything but touchdowns, and he's only 2 behind there, so he's having a pretty good season throwing the ball.
Of course, he and his favorite target, Emmanuel Tolbert, were teammates with the Toronto Argonauts. Lewis Walker, and he is upset at the 30-yard line. He has stopped about 3 yards short of a first down, so Bud Riley sends out the punting unit.
Well, it's going to take an awfully good kick right here to get them, to keep the Bombers from having good field position. I think we might see him put a little bit of pressure on him to hurry him even more.
J.T. Hay, who handles both placement and punting chores for the Calgary Stampeders, stands back at his own 15-yard line. Just one man back, Glenn Steele, for this 3rd down kick, an indication that the Bombers are going to try and go after it. Bad snap, and the ball is loose in the end zone. Winnipeg recovers. Sean Kehoe.
Well, I knew they'd go back, go try to block this thing. Don't allow him time to punt it, but this you don't count on. You still count on the guy catching it and kicking it, but when you have that many blue jerseys on a rush, they're going to recover any fumble, and the result, touchdown.
Well, Kehoe is the man who recovered it, but it was Roy Bennett coming from the outside who belted J.T. Hay after he picked up the ball and mishandling the snap from center and popped it loose. Trevor Kennard with the point after. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move into a 21-6 lead in the end zone as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers score their 3rd touchdown of the day and lead by a 21-6 margin. Tagrom takes it at his 5-yard line. And he is upended on a hit by Vernon Paul.
Well, we expected the Bombers to come after him. They overloaded this right side. They wanted J.T. Hay to have to kick it to his left, but he mishandles the snap, and as you said, Roy Bennett did smack him good, and that caused the ball to come free. And you don't see a white jersey anywhere in there, so there's no doubt what the result of this is going to be.
And Sean Kehoe, this past week, just signed a new contract with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Sean Kehoe, of course, was a star in the Grey Cup win last year over the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Lewis Walker breaks one tackle, and Lewis Walker continues all the way to the 50-yard line. He was stopped there finally by Ken Haley.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders needed a play like that to get out of the shadows of that goalpost. He starts to his right, cuts back. Good block coming across by his left tackle. Sean McEwen comes down on that linebacker, and then you get Walker or any good running back into the secondary, and he'll make a lot of yards.
1st and 10. The Stampeders are at the 50-yard line. Walker tries it again. And he got across the midfield stripe and is stopped by Scott Flagel at the Winnipeg 54. A gain of 6 for Lewis Walker. Well, that will improve the Stampeders' rushing statistics, those last 2 romps by Lewis Walker. They have to put some points on the board, and they'd like to sustain this drive all the way to the end zone with 9:32 remaining in this first half. Tag Rome, the receiver, making the catch for a first down at the Winnipeg 49. Anthony Tag Rome, who was with the Edmonton Eskimos, picked up by the Calgary Stampeders. He's on a 21-day trial for a while, but he said, I don't want to spend my entire pro career as a 21-day trial player.
Well, if he keeps playing like he did last week, I don't think he'll have to worry about it anymore.
1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 49. Barnes hit just as he tried to throw by Tyrone Jones. They rule it dead as Frank Robinson grabbed it on a hop and was heading for the end zone.
Well, Joe's ready to throw the football. He wants to throw it quick. Nobody open, and now Tyrone Jones is free. Doesn't like to get a welcome like that too often, though. Saw number 19, Emmanuel Tolbert, just didn't stay with Tyrone Jones long enough, and don't let him wind up on you.
Jones played all of last year and through training camp this year with what he thought may have been an Achilles tendon injury. Finally, after some thorough examination, they discovered it was a bit of a bone spur, and he was quite relieved after he had the operation that it was not an Achilles problem. Pass is picked off, intercepted by David Shaw.
Well, we'll look at Barnes. Now, Barnes is doing a little fake. Now, you roll left, and you see the Bombers are coming after him. He's going to overthrow the receiver. He's throwing for Emmanuel Tolbert. He can't reach it, and then David Shaw steps right in front in the back, and the Bombers have field position. So that 2 good running plays by Lewis Walker didn't get him enough to sustain it and put points on the board, and the Bombers have it, and anything can happen now.
Cal Murphy was telling us an interesting story about David Shaw. We'll get to that in just a moment. 1st and 10, Winnipeg. There's that hitch screen to Jeff Boyd. He's got a first down to the 41.
Stopped by Ronnie Hopkins of the Michigan on the play.
We talked about David Shaw, and there you see the Winnipeg defensive back and other members of that Bomber defense. Cal Murphy has a phone-in show. He said the phone rang the other night. Said, Coach, good game over in Hamilton. Thought your defense played well. He said, thank you, David Shaw.
Ball is at the Winnipeg 40-yard line.
First and 10, Winnipeg. Clements over the middle to Sean Kehoe, and Kehoe has another Winnipeg first down. He drives to the Calgary 54.
Well, Tom Clements will take those kind of passes all day. Those linebackers want to drop out of there deep. He'll bring Kehoe right out underneath them. And when you start getting 15 yards with a little check down, that's a big play.
Clements takes the hit, has the pass intercepted. This will go for a touchdown. as Willard Reeves caught up with Ron Hopkins. Willard Reeves turned on the jets to catch Hopkins and prevent him from going all the way on an interception that appeared to have touched.
Carling O'Keefe, Game Star.
And Ron Hopkins has put himself in position to be considered a candidate for the defensive award with this 53-yard return.
Well, you can see Tom Clements right now when he turned. There was something wrong with that play. The only mistake Tom Clements made, he should have just peeled it and eat it. Don't throw that one because you see what the result on that was.
And the pass is complete to Lewis Walker for a gain of about 8 as he's hauled down by Tyrone Jones.
Stop by Tyrone Jones.
There are certain times when a quarterback has to take the hit and hang on to the football.
Yeah, I never learned that lesson soon enough. I was a slow learner anyway. But yeah, you sure do. Like right here, one receiver out, and he just threw it out there, and Hopkins saw it coming.
Lewis Walker trying to get first down yardage. He'll be very close.
And nobody knows it more than that man. Tom Clements knows he made a mistake. Tom doesn't say much. He doesn't have to. He knows.
Well, how this game has turned around just when it looked as though Winnipeg might be moving into position to put it away. The Calgary Stampeders have a new life with 6:30 remaining in the half, trailing 21-6. And they could score their first touchdown of the game if they can keep this drive going. The chain is out there as they measure to see whether or not they have the first down. It appears as though it's going to be just a little short, about the length of the football. But there's not much doubt that the Stampeders will be going for it.
He's got to get it.
Defensively, this is the way the Bombers have played in this 1985 season and in this game. Joe Barnes should have it.
Well, we looked at the defense of the Bombers. This will be a test for them. That ball's going to be out on the 6-yard line. Bud Riley knows right now he needs to get this one into the end zone. He wants that offense to score, and you know, one guy wants to score, that guy wants them out of there. He doesn't care how they do it.
First and goal from the 6-yard line. Pass complete, and then a big hit. Winnipeg scoops it up, and Darrell Patterson gets all the way back to the 26-yard line. What a hit by Roy Bennett as he decked Lewis Walker.
You know, last time they had the ball, they hit that quick flat pass to Lewis Walker. Now, they want him to come out in the flat, and they want the Bombers in a man-to-man defense, and then all Barnes will do is step back and shoot and let him score. But watch what happens. Roy Bennett, the corner, they changed the defense and went to a zone. Now, look who's waiting on Walker just as he turns around. That's a great hit. Rule it a completion, and away they go. We'll see one more look at it. This is a surprise. When you have your head turned like that and turn around and get met like that, well, that'll hurt. No wonder he's down.
Lewis Walker is still down, and the rookie Roy Bennett, who is something of a question mark for this ball game as the result of an injury against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, has certainly stamped himself as one of the candidates this year for that Shenley Rookie of the Year award. He has played very, very well.
Also, he's stepping into, you know, maybe
of Utah being assisted over to the Calgary bench by athletic therapist Pat Clayton. Clayton, previously with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. As a matter of fact, he spent about 6 or 7 years with Winnipeg before moving to Calgary and joining the Stampeders this year. Winnipeg takes over, and the handoff goes to Willard Reeves. Reeves getting to the outside, but he was tripped up by Steve Carpenter. A gain of about 9.
we see that play run a lot by the Bombers where the action starts one way, and then all of a sudden they bring that Chris Walby, that big moose, coming back the other way, leading Willard Reeves, and he wiped out the whole side, and Reeves made a big gain.
Chris Walby, 6'7", 295 pounds. incomplete. And you won't see them bounce off the chest of Joe Poplawski very often.
Boy, that was ideally thrown. Hitting right between the 7 and the 1. I still think they'll go after this on 3rd down. It looks less than a yard down there.
4:40 is the time remaining in the half. The short yardage offense is out there. Reeves has carried 4 times for 27 yards this afternoon. Will Clements keep this one? No, he gives it to Willard Reeves, and he has the first down. Stopped by Vince Goldsmith. Interesting situation in the coaching ranks. Bud Riley, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, his son, Mike Riley, coaches the defensive backs for Winnipeg. You don't often hear or see father and son coaching combinations on opposite sides of the field.
You know, it must have happened somewhere in the history of football, but I sure don't know where it was. It's got to be I don't know whether you say an enviable position for either one of them.
Jeff Boyd on that screen. He's got some room and some blockers. To the 39-yard line.
A well-run football play. What you usually see is to go to the wide side of the field, but watch Pat Cantner come out here and make the block, and then they get 2 big linemen in here, and it looks like they're going to break it. Cantner comes right out. He's looking for number 15, Hopkins, and he's got him in his sights. Good hit on him, puts him on his back, and now those other big linemen are out there.
Nemeth and Bonk out in front of Jeff Boyd.
Oh, look at this.
Wide open for Poplawski, touchdown!
You know, Don, they love to throw that hit screen out to the flanker, and I'm sure we'll get a replay of this in a little bit. Now watch, Clements is going to look out there like he's going to throw that hit screen. He fakes it, and those Calgary defensive backs come up to get James Murphy standing in the backfield, but they forget about Poplawski, and he just waltzes down the field all by himself.
And Joe says that makes up for the one I dropped.
He says, yeah, and I've never had an easier one. There was nobody near him.
The second touchdown of the game for Joe Poplawski, and he has to be a candidate as well for that Carling O'Keefe Game Star Award. Trevor Kennard with the point after. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move in front by a score of 28-6 with 3:05 remaining in the half. Canada and the Honduras, and we'll have a report on the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. And by the way, Mr. Lancaster, congratulations on being inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame.
It was a great evening, and Jake Goddard did a great job of organizing it.
Tag Rome concedes the point on that Trevor Kennard kickoff that sails into the end zone. And it's now 29-6, Winnipeg in front of Calgary.
Well, there's a time to run that ball out of the end zone and a time to give up the single point. And when you're facing the wind and a 29-6 deficit, you better get the field position because you need it on your side.
Tag Rome goes wide to the left. Rufus Cox comes out to the right. Barnes jumps it over the middle to Emmanuel Tolbert. He is stopped at the 42. And Tom Clements has reached a milestone in his professional career, 30,000 passing yards. That also means somebody has been forced to run with the ball for 30,000 yards.
That's right. If he's completing them, somebody's running with it.
Second and 3, Barnes is hit, fumbles the ball, and who's got it? Winnipeg claims they've got it. There's no signal yet. They're still grappling for that football. Winnipeg has it.
You know, Don, who made the play on that particular play was Roy Bennett, you know, the rookie. All Joe wants to do is throw a stop. All he needs a few yards for the first down, and Bennett jumped on that receiver right now, and Joe couldn't throw the football. And when you're going to throw the ball quick, your lineman will chop block. But that time, they got up off the ground and still had time to come in to make the hit.
Tyrone Jones was the man who made contact with Barnes, popping the ball loose. Turnovers have proven costly this afternoon for Calgary. Willard Reeves picks up just a couple of yards before being wrestled down by Vince Goldsmith.
Well, those turnovers, they usually will have a say in the outcome of every football game, and they're either with you or against you, and when you're getting them, you think they're great, and in Calgary's case today, they're giving them away, and you see the 29-6. Turnovers have accounted for a lot of those points.
2:30 the time remaining in the half. Murphy lines up to the right. Boyd splits left. Penalty flag is down. Clemens throws deep, looking for Boyd. Incomplete. Holding against Winnipeg, so it would have all gone for naught anyway.
Tom really didn't have anywhere to throw the football, and I know a lot of times a quarterback will throw it just far enough out of everybody's reach, but that time he could have thrown it another 35 yards into the stands because his man wasn't open.
So the Stampeders are going to move the Bombers back. And it will be 2nd and 19.
Holding. Number 62, Winnipeg. 2nd down over.
Richard Nemeth, the sophomore out of the University of Western Ontario, was guilty of the holding call.
Well, the last time it was 2nd down and 20, Tom just decided he'd check out one of the corners, and it was Larry Hogue, and he just sent Murphy down the field. Let's see if he tries it again.
Fake inside. Clements over the middle to Sean Keogh. He is stopped at the 35, about 7 yards short of a first down. Steve Carpenter was there to make the tackle.
We said earlier, you know, when you throw that check down or a check off right into the middle to your back, you don't expect to get, like right there, he got 14 yards with that play. That's a lot on a play like that, and it puts him right into field goal range for Kennard.
Bob Cameron will hold at the 42-yard line. Kick is wide, and it sails through the end zone for a single point. So with 1:45 remaining in the half, it's Winnipeg 30 and Calgary 6. While we have an opportunity, we would like to congratulate the junior players of the week in Canadian junior football. Tim Ellison of the Richmond Raiders, the offensive choice. 5 catches, 144 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And defensively, linebacker Mario Adrozio of the Oshawa Hawkeyes. 17 tackles, 1 sack, and a blocked punt.
17 tackles and a blocked punt in the game. Yeah, I think that could win you some honors.
1st and 10 Calgary from the 35. Again, and they've got Barnes back at the 26-yard line. Stan Mikolas was in along with 2 of the linebackers, Tyrone Jones and Frank Robinson.
Well, Cal Murphy said in that opening statement of his that they've got to get to Barnes quicker. Well, they're doing a pretty good job of it today, and they're getting awful close to him, and he's not able to see as well when you get in there.
This is the rubber match. Winnipeg and Calgary, dating all the way back to 46. Mikolas was pressuring Barnes again, and with Scott Flagel moving up from his safety position, Barnes went down, and Calgary will be forced to punt. Flagel is favoring that left knee. He was shaken up last week against Hamilton. Jerome Erdman, normally a slot back, came into the ball game in his place as a defensive back. As a matter of fact, he had an interception against Hamilton.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike Riley about that. You know, because Erdman was out there catching the ball before the game, and he said calls himself the interceptor. He got in for one play and intercepted it. He told me anytime you need an interception, I'll go in and get it for you.
And Hay got the kick away. Steele takes it on the run and is bounced out of bounds at the Calgary 49 by Donnie Harris.
Well, I believe we'll see Clements in that hurry-up offense with 1:12 left and only 49 yards to travel. He doesn't necessarily have to use it, but I think he will.
I mentioned the Stars of the Week in Canadian junior football. An interesting game is coming up in a couple of weeks. The Regina Rams, one of the dominant teams for many years in junior football, going to take on the University of Alberta Golden Bears in an exhibition game.
That is an interesting situation.
Boyd on that hit screen, and he is tripped up as he got to the 39-yard line.
That play right there, the hit screen to the flanker to the wide side of the field, that's what Calgary was expecting when Clements faked it and threw it to Poplawski.
Winnipeg in that hurry-up offense with 1:07 remaining in the half. 2nd and 1. Clements is going to throw it. Over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Erdman. That takes the clock to 1 minute exactly.
With 1 minute left in that field position, go get it.
Cal Murphy sends Cantner into the ball game. Sean Kehoe comes out. Pat Langdon is also going in, and Erdman is coming out. With the incomplete pass, the clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Willard Reeves should have the first down. 56 seconds, the time remaining. Winnipeg leading by a score of 30-6.
Right back up on the ball. 56 seconds. Ball around to 36. Got a lot of time.
Hand off to Willard Reeves, and he fights his way to the 31-yard line. Stopped there by Randy Troutman. If required, Trevor Kennard is ready on the sidelines. And Trevor Kennard came into this game as the leading scorer in the CFL. Clements throwing for James Murphy. He makes the catch, but he was out of bounds. Clements isn't pleased with that throw.
Now that ball got up in the wind and sailed on him because Murphy went down again on Larry Hogue. Faked to the inside and then broke deep toward the corner. And in that type of a pattern, the quarterback, all he wants to do is throw it away from the defender. And it just got a little bit away from him and got too far because Murphy had him beat.
A 38-yard field goal attempt upcoming by Trevor Kennard. Bob Cameron holds. It's good. With 39 seconds remaining in the half, it's Winnipeg 33 and Calgary 6.
Trevor Kennard will be awful happy about that. You know, he wanted another shot. He missed that one earlier. Oh, those kickers don't like to end a half or a game with a miss. They want that ball through the uprights. Makes halftime more enjoyable.
Even though Winnipeg had a 28-10 victory over Hamilton last Sunday, they weren't pleased with their total overall performance at Ivor Wynne Stadium. The Calgary Stampeders were very pleased with their performance a week ago Saturday under the Dome in Vancouver. Wonder how teams could play so differently in the space of 8 days.
Well, I think that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense is pretty tough to begin with. I thought they showed that last night against the Lions. So, you know, you're not going to go out and play a perfect game every game like the Calgary Stampeders did last week. And I think that the defenses will dictate a lot of times just how well an offense plays.
Second and 4 with 20 seconds remaining in the half. Lewis Walker breaking a couple of tackles and spinning his way up to the 47-yard line. First down, Calgary. Well, there's Mike Riley, number 1 offspring of 59-year-old Bud Riley, the new head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, ex-head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Toronto Argonauts and Hamilton Tiger Cats. Barnes throwing deep for Rufus Cox, incomplete. And that will end the first half at Winnipeg Stadium. The Bombers in front 33-6, now 6. They had a couple of opportunities to perhaps narrow the gap, but the big hit by Roy Bennett on Lewis Walker when it appeared as though Calgary was driving in, that popped the ball away, and turnovers tell much of the story. 4. Winnipeg leading. It looked as though Calgary was going in for a touchdown, and that would totally have changed the complexion of the game.
Well, I think so. Anytime you keep that team out of that end zone, and then they took it and marched down the field and scored, that's a 14-point turnaround, so it's 33-6 instead of possibly 7 or 8 point difference. So you betcha it's a big turnaround for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And the Bombers will have the win for the third quarter as Trevor Kennard prepares to kick off. Waiting for the signal from the sidelines. There's the whistle of referee Bill McDonald. And Tag Rome will chase it into the end zone. It will bounce right through. He didn't touch the ball. So it's a first down at the 25. No point on the play. The score holds 33-6.
You know, on those kickoffs like that, Trevor would love to be able to kick that thing as, you know, I don't know how high you'd say is high enough, but just so it would drop on the goal line and force them to get it. But when you get that ball in that wind and it sails like that, Tag Rome did a wise thing. Just get out of the way and let it go.
Rufus Cox comes out to the right. Tag Rome splits wide left. Barnes throws to Tag Rome. He will have a gain of about 8. He took the pass in front of David Shaw. An interesting comment by Roy Bennett about watching the eyes of the receivers.
Yeah, most defensive backs will tell you when they're playing a man one-on-one or man coverage, they will run with that receiver, and when his head turns, they will turn and face it. But I guess if you can get it down to where you can study the eyes, you're doing a heck of a job. It's hard to find those eyes sometimes, but he is right. They will light up when that ball's on the way.
Pretty tough for a receiver not to be looking for that ball.
Well, if he plans on catching it, he better look.
Second and short, and they have stopped him as the contact was made at the 30-yard line by Stan Mikowas. And at the Calgary bench, taking notes is the backup quarterback, Rick Johnson. And it could be that Bud Riley will give the young man from Southern Illinois an opportunity to play, depending on what happens in this third quarter.
Well, I would say Joe will go the rest of the third quarter, and if the score remains as it is, we'll see him play in the fourth quarter with the win. I don't think he'd want his first taste of action going against the wind.
Penalty flag on the play. I think Bennett is going to be called on an offside. Glenn Steele with the punt return, but he is caught at the 49-yard line. Roy Bennett on the left corner was out covering a receiver who had split wide, and when it looked as though it was indeed going to be a punt by J.T. Hay, Bennett started dancing towards the line of scrimmage, and I think he crossed that 1-yard area.
Well, I believe this will give the Stampeders a first down because that 5 yards, they only needed about 1. They'll bring it back down, get the first down, and a chance to start again.
Bill McDonald, the referee, will march off the yardage against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he'll tell us who the guilty party was.
Offside, Winnipeg number 23, first down.
Winnipeg offside. And it's Calgary's first attempt to follow the
I get lucky with the same frequency as every appearance of Halley's Comet. Pass complete to Barrett. That's his first reception of the day, and he has a gain of 14 and a Calgary first down.
Excellent coverage by Ken Haley, but That looked like the way Joe Barnes threw the ball last week against the Lions. It didn't matter how well that receiver was covered. He got it in there. That's just an excellent throw, and it was right where Haley couldn't do anything about it.
First and 10, Calgary. The ball is at the 53. Barnes gets away from the initial charge by Stan Mikolas, and then runs it into Winnipeg's 48-yard line, and Ken Haley and Joe Jackson, the defensive back and the linebacker, stop the Calgary quarterback.
Well, that Winnipeg defense has been putting pressure on him all day. They haven't allowed him the time to just stand back there and look around. And he's had to run for his life a few times, and that time he escaped and gained yards. Most times he's lost.
Joe Barnes playing with his 4th CFL team. He started with Montreal, went to Saskatchewan, then to Toronto and Calgary. He has 2 Grey Cup rings to show for his efforts. One with Montreal, another with Toronto. As a matter of fact, he was the offensive star of that Toronto triumph at the stadium at BC Place.
Well, him and Conrad Holloway formed quite a team in Toronto, just as him and Hufnagel did in Saskatchewan.
Perry Ceci replaces Barrett, 2nd and 2. Lewis Walker hit right at the line of scrimmage, and there's also a penalty flag over on the far side of the field.
Tyrone Jones in on the tackle, along with Vernon Fall.
Tyrone Jones has had another strong ball game. Procedure would have been the call against the Stampeders, but I think Winnipeg will decline it.
And I'll tell you who else has played well is McCallus. Is that right there? He just stood the Calgary offensive charge up and just stopped it cold in his track, and then Tyrone Jones come in and finished it.
Well, they may not decline it. They're placing the ball at the 47-yard line. They rule that's where the forward progress had carried to, so they're going to be close enough that they would probably gamble on 3rd down anyway, so Winnipeg will probably send them back.
Well, they have to gamble 33-6. They don't want to turn the ball over. They want to put that thing in the end zone. So, yeah, they'll take the penalty and make them do it again.
Well, you see at the bench, standing beside Bud Riley, the man with the clipboard, Rick Johnson. What exactly, Ron, are quarterbacks doing on the sidelines, making notes as Johnson is?
Well, with that notepad, he's going to write down all the plays that the Calgary Stampeders are running, and he'll put it whether it gained yards or lost yards. It makes it easier when you're learning an offense. You're into the game. It makes you as a quarterback.
Calgary, 2nd down.
It makes you as a quarterback concentrate on what's going on the field, so that if you do go in there, you're into the swing of things. You know what he's been running. Otherwise, you have a tendency to daydream.
Second down and about 6. Barnes down the sidelines, intercepted. It's picked off by Ken Haley.
This is the way you diagram it on the board. See, Bennett plays him real tough. He can't run an out pattern, so he has to take it up the field. And you see Haley just come right in there, right where he's supposed to be. That's what defensive coaches expect.
First and 10, Winnipeg. James Murphy fumbles the ball, and Calgary, I believe, has recovered. Yes, they have.
James Murphy, there was a fumble on the play.
Mark Nelson was over covering, so was Greg Peterson. And I believe Peterson picked it up.
It looked a little bit like the first half where a turnover both ways. This time Murphy spins, tries to get outside, but just loses the football. And when you fumble out there, there's going to be more white jerseys, so they should get it. Greg Peterson, 2nd-year man from Brigham Young, a Calgary native. Played high school football right in Calgary.
Larry Hogue was the man over defending against James Murphy. And now Joe Barnes throws intended for Emmanuel Tolbert, incomplete.
Joe Barnes' pass intended for Emmanuel Tolbert was incomplete.
Scott Flagel is having words with Danny Barrett, and there are penalty flags on the play.
Didn't see what happened. Maybe we'll get a look at it here. Whoa.
That's the painful way of removing a helmet.
There's a lot better ways to take it off. As the equipment man will tell you, don't throw your helmet unless your head's in it.
Well, let's find out what those flags were all about.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary. After they whistle, second down.
Well, after seeing the replay, I would have to agree. They were both shoving a little bit.
They were both guilty.
Well, we'll see when Barrett goes into the middle to catch his next pattern if Flagel's waiting on him.
Second and 10 from the 41. The fans didn't agree with the call. All they saw was the end result, the helmet flying to the turf. Barnes gets to the outside. Stan Mikowas is after him and forces him out of bounds, short of a first down. Mikowas has done a good job at that nose guard position.
He's played awfully well today. I think he's got to be a candidate for our Carling O'Keefe Game Star. And what I liked right there was the discipline of the Winnipeg secondary. They did not come up when Barnes was rolling out here. They just held their ground deep and said, okay, Joe, you can run and gain your yards, and then we're going to come up and punish you. But they didn't come up and give away an easy score.
The ball is placed at the 34. So it will be third and almost 3. Incomplete. It was intended for Lewis Walker, and there's also a penalty flag. Rough play against Winnipeg.
I'll be interested to hear who they're calling the rough play on. That's what I want to hear.
Well, that will keep the drive alive for the Stampeders as the ball is moved down to the 19-yard line, and the reaction of Tyrone Jones gives you a pretty good hint as to who the flag was thrown against.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, 35, Winnipeg, first down.
Not a popular decision with the 27 or 28,000 spectators at Winnipeg Stadium. Don't imagine Cal Murphy's too happy either. Lewis Walker gets the call, stays on his feet. He's inside the 10. He'll be very close to a first down.
Well, I might as well get my vote in. It wasn't popular with me either. I mean, well, let's take a look at it. Let's just see. And I'll tell you what, the ball's thrown to Walker. The ball hits him in the hands. He goes to make the tackle. He didn't throw him down. He didn't grab his face mask, so I don't know what the call is. So I have to agree with Tyrone. I'd have been a little upset.
Second and about a yard. Walker dives over the middle, and he will have the first down. It will be first and goal, Calgary. And the ball will be at about the 6, maybe the 7-yard line. As they unfoul him, it'll be closer to the 7.
Well, just looking at the scoreboard, 9:16 to play, third quarter. They've got to get this in there to get back in this football game. They can't afford a turnover down here.
First and goal, Calgary. Barnes having difficulty picking out a receiver, throws, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Frank Robinson. Winnipeg Stadium. The fans delighting in the performance of the Blue Bombers as they lead at 33-6, snuffing out a Calgary drive with an interception by Frank Robinson at the 2. Clements over the middle, deflected, intended for Boyd, and Mark Nelson, the middle linebacker, got a hand on him.
Excellent play by Nelson because Boyd was open coming into the middle. We're going to take a look at the interception. You know what was great on this? We're not going to see Roy Bennett, but he stayed with Tag Rome man for man and just didn't let him go anywhere. And now Barnes is scrambling. Probably an ill-advised throw at this point because look how low and behind him it is, and Frank Robinson's in the best position to catch it.
Donnie Harris comes in. Nelson goes out. Harris is a 6th defensive back in an obvious passing situation. Clements getting time, throwing. Kwiatkowski makes the catch.
You know, you can bring those 6 defensive backs or as many as you want to, but in a zone defense, there are holes, and Poplowski just found one.
Tom Clements, the quarterback, just dropped that pass over Steve Carpenter into the hands of Poplawski. First down from the 25. Poplawski again, another first down out to the 40-yard line.
Tom Clements made one of the oldest reads in football. Read the middle linebacker, and whatever way he goes, you go the other way.
5 catches this afternoon for Poplawski, 2 of them for touchdowns, looking for James Murphy. And a Calgary assistant coach made that catch.
I get a kick out of looking at Tom. I look at him. Got the helmet up, the chin strap unbuttoned. He knows that was a bad throw. Murphy probably said, we're even. I dropped one on you a while ago, and I was wide open, and you threw it out of bounds.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the 39-yard line. They're after him. He'll get hit back at the 24. Greg Peterson was blitzing from his halfback position. Richie Hall was also coming.
I'll tell you what, we've seen halfback blitzes before, but they blitzed them both. They brought Richie Hall from one side, and they brought Peterson from the other side. Tom saw it coming from his right, but I don't think he was expecting it from the left. Of course, I wouldn't either. You know, that's a lot of folks.
Bernie Morrison was coming up the middle, flushed him out of there, and the 2 guys coming from the other side wrapped him up.
Clements has to be standing there wondering now, if they bring all those people, somebody's open.
Bob Cameron's kick. It's a beauty. Tag Rome goes back to his own 29-yard line and is stopped at the 33 by Vernon Paul. Well, there's a name familiar to football fans, but not in that jersey. Doug Plain, the son of former Winnipeg Blue Bomber Ken Plain, also a member of the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame. Ken Plain, very involved on the radio broadcasts of Blue Bomber football games, and his son Doug, drafted this year by Winnipeg, but was released just after the preseason schedule and picked up by Calgary.
Greg Figger, the ball carrier.
Greg Figger, the ball carrier. The first time I think he's been used as a running back this afternoon. He was hauled down by Darrell Patterson.
Yeah, Figger usually plays that blocking back spot that the fullback position normally is in most offenses now. He either blocks or he goes out in the flat to catch a pass, but it's kind of wondering, Kenny Plain probably a little nervous here today. Probably happy, though.
Happy indeed that his son is on a CFL roster. Joe Barnes not happy to see Stan Mikolas and Darrell Patterson and Tony Norman.
Well, you know, Sturdivant started the game out with a couple sacks early, and then Norman got into the act. He wasn't about to let Sturdivant show him up, and that time, all 3 of the front 3 of the Bombers were in on that one. Cal Murphy will be happy because that's what he said he wanted to do.
Again, just 1 man back to accept his 3rd down punt of J.T. Hayes. They're going after it. They came close again, forcing Hay to hurry the kick. Picked up by Glenn Steele. Nowhere to go. He stopped right at the middle to 1. A quarterbacking change. John Huffnagel is taking over from Tom Clements. Huffnagel stepped into the breach in the first quarter for 4 plays when Clements suffered a bit of an elbow injury. Threw a touchdown pass to Joe Poplawski. He takes over at midfield, gives to Willard Reeves. And Reeves has a pickup of about 3.
Vince Goldsmith in on the tackle. Bernie Morrison also in on the tackle.
Willard Reeves, the Shenley Award winner, is the country's outstanding performer a year ago.
3 yards in his
And I think most of the Shenley nominators across the country at about this time of year begin scratching their heads and contemplating who they will be voting for in the first round of balloting. Hopnagel can't escape the blitz coming up the middle, and Nelson, the middle linebacker, got to him.
He was brought down by Mark Nelson.
Well, we talked about Nelson. Let's watch him. He's the middle linebacker right here. He'll kind of cheat this way a little bit, and when he comes up the middle, there's just nobody there to pick him up. Somebody's got to step over and pick him up. You see him cheat, he finds an open lane, and when a man comes up the middle right into a quarterback space that quick, he really has no chance to get out of the way.
Well, Mark Nelson, the son of a former CFL star, Roger Nelson. We saw Doug Plain, the son of Kenny Plain, and you go across the Canadian Football League, there are a number of familiar names. Sons of former CFL players. Tag Rome taking that third down kick by Bob Cameron, and he is stopped at the 18-yard line by Scott Flagel. I think Tom Clements is finished for the day. He'll head to that locker room and put the razor blades to work.
He always looks so excited standing there. I mean, he just can't hardly wait. He's just going to relax and talk to John the rest of the game.
Well, he's very close to getting his law degree. He heads to Notre Dame University for his studies in the off-season. 28,166 in attendance. Beautiful afternoon in Winnipeg. Joe Barnes is being pressured. He is caught and wrapped up by Daryl Patterson at the 5.
Well, that Bomber defense has done exactly what Coach Murphy said in that opening statement. We've got to get to him quicker, and they have been all over Joe Barnes today.
3:12 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Back at the 7-yard line as Chris Walby sits on the bench with an ice bag taped to his right knee. Appears to be in some discomfort as he sits there. Lewis Walker unable to find any running room. Jackson was trying to wrestle the ball away from him. Daryl Patterson also had a hand in that stop.
And Joe Jackson.
Winnipeg has sacked Joe Barnes 5 times, and that Calgary defensive unit has got to Clements and Huffnagel on 3 occasions.
The ball is at the Calgary 10.
Don, we're getting that weird alignment again that we was talking about earlier. Winnipeg's going to force J.T. Hay again to kick that ball to his left. They're going to put Flagel and Bennett out here, and they're going to try to go get him again. Ooh.
High kick, and a short one. It bounces back to the line of scrimmage. Finally picked up by Pat Tantner, but penalty flags fly. J.T. Hay came scooting downfield initially, and the ball bounced away from him. He was in excellent position to scoop it up.
Boy, he got down there in a hurry, and if only the ball bouncing away from him, or he would have gotten it, because he was inside that 5-yard zone. I don't know who they're going to call this on, but J.T. Hay almost got that punt. And, of course, Winnipeg almost blocked it.
Well, they did have that unusual alignment. They overloaded the left side, and they had both Bennett and Flagel coming from the outside.
No yard. 96 Calgary. First down.
Actually, it was Jackson that came up the middle that really caused most of the problems for J.T. Hay.
Boy, they were in there again, and that ball had to go straight up, and it's not going to go in this wind, and you see where it ends up.
First and 10, the ball is at the 11. Huffnagel continues as the replacement for Tom Clements. The pass complete to James Murphy. He is at the goal line, touchdown.
Well, the Stampeders want to blitz them up the middle, but that offensive line really cut the legs out from under him. Huffnagel gets it out to Murphy, and he just splits Darryl Moyer and Hopkins, and he says, wait a minute, I'll break the plane and score a touchdown.
That makes it 39-6, and Trevor Kennard with the point after provides Winnipeg with its 40th point with 1:56 remaining in the third quarter.
I just happened to look across the field. I figured it'd be time for Johnson to start warming up, and he is, so I'm pretty sure we'll see him in either this series or the next one, but he'll play the fourth quarter. One more look. Look at the blitz, and look at the good job. They cut those legs out from under him, and that allows the quarterback to throw it quick, and then it's up to the receiver, and He said there's nothing to it.
Well, that's the type of thing that goes somewhat unnoticed. That lineman coming back to pick up the blitzing linebacker, enabling Hufnagel to spot Murphy.
Well, you know, we don't mention the offensive lineman nearly enough, and it is very hard to in the short amount of time between plays. But when a quarterback is having success, whether he's dropping deep and throwing long or just taking that quick drop and throwing it short, those offensive linemen have a heck of a job to do. And when they make the blocks and get those hands down, a quarterback can see and throw it on the money. And they do a great job.
Kenner kicking it into the end zone. It will bounce through. So the ball will come out to the 25-yard line.
Well, Barnes is still there. That's what I was looking for, to see if Johnson came in. I imagine we'll see him as soon as they change ends and he gets the wind at his back, because I think when you look at the scoreboard and it says 40-6 going to the fourth quarter, you might as well get that quarterback some experience, because he's yet to play it down in the Canadian Football League.
First and 10 at the 25. Walker hit right at the line of scrimmage. Vernon Paul made the initial contact.
Lewis Walker carried the ball.
Well, as the game has progressed today, the Winnipeg defense has dominated the line of scrimmage, and they have usually, when one team dominates that particular part of the field, that's who wins the game.
He did an excellent job of hanging on to that ball. There's also a penalty flag. They were going to call interference, I'm sure, against either David Shaw or Scott Flegel. But Tagrom, nonetheless, was able to hang on to the football. He did an excellent job of squeezing that ball despite the hit.
Yeah, I believe Scott Flegel would be the...
Defensive pass interference, number 36, Winnipeg. Decline. First down.
Oh, it is David Shaw. There's not much doubt about it. Flegel, we better apologize to him. That's usually the way he goes into a defender, but David Shaw was there, and that's good concentration to hang on to the football by Tagrom anyway.
And that's why Art Darch is the president of the spotters unit.
Well, we learn that every game, don't we?
First and 10 from the 39. Walker has a gain of 4.
Brought down by Tony Norman.
Well, there haven't been many occasions this month where you've required sunglasses in Winnipeg. The wettest month in history.
4 yards, second and 6.
We just had to arrive, bring a little sunshine.
All those clouds you saw earlier today, those were just empties going back to be refilled.
Boy, I can't believe the amount of rain. The way they set a record for the month of August.
Down the sidelines, incomplete, overthrowing Tagrom.
Joe Barnes' pass intended for Tagrom was incomplete.
Well, we've talked today about the play of the nose guard for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, number 75, Stan McCullis. Watch him. Just throws him out of the way. Get him out of the way, Gwynn, and just give him a little shove, just to let him know you're around.
And in Calgary, 3rd and 6 from their own 40.
Well, you take a look at his helmet and you realize he's been in a battle. Again, just one man back. Again, trying to put pressure on J.T. Hay. He got a pretty good kick away, taken by Glenn Steele at the 32. I think he had all but about 2 members of that penalty flag, and Hufnagel goes down. He had no chance to throw as Randy Troutman was up in his face.
Which one's Leo?
I'm not sure. I think the ground squirrels are loose in that fella's corn silo.
We know he's here someplace.
We miss you, Leo.
Legal procedure, Winnipeg. Decline.
Winnipeg penalized for illegal procedure. Calgary declines the penalty.
The procedure call takes the ball back to the, well, actually, Hufnagel was dropped back at the 34-yard line. There was no penalty. It's first and 15. Hufnagel throwing deep down the sidelines. The catch is made, and Jerome Erdman has the first down.
That's one time the wind helped the quarterback because he was covered about as well as you can cover him. The ball got up in the air and the wind knocked it down, and you see Richie Hall or Bernie Morrison just couldn't get turned around, and Jerome Erdman found it first.
First and 10 from the Calgary 49.
First and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 49 of the Calgary Stampeders. That hit screen again to Boyd. This time, Calgary was ready.
Hufnagel complete to Jeff Boyd.
Well, that certainly saves the cost of sending out invitations. I wonder if we'll get invited to the wedding.
Well,
I wonder if Mom and Dad know about it.
I wonder if Mom and Dad are being invited to the wedding.
And it's Winnipeg, second and 11. The ball is at the Calgary 3-yard line.
Second and 11, Winnipeg. The ball at the 50-yard line. Hufnagel won't get away from Randy Troutman. Back at the 46-yard line. Kind of makes you wonder where all this pressure was earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, that's, you know, Randy Troutman has been trying to get in there all day, but for the past two plays, Hufnagel's going back to throw. He's been sacked, so this is when you need it. Maybe they want to get good field position for the new quarterback that's probably going to come into the game.
40-6 is the score, with 13:30 remaining in the football game. An indication of the wind as that ball hangs up there, and it's picked up by Tag Rome, and his club to the 1983 NCAA Division IAA Championship takes over at quarterback for Calgary.
Rick Johnson now at quarterback for Calgary.
And coming up next week in the CFL on Friday, BC at Ottawa. Sunday, Winnipeg at Saskatchewan. Monday, two Labor Day games. Edmonton at Calgary. Montreal at Hamilton. We'll have that Montreal-Hamilton game for you on CBC television. Complete to Greg Figger, and Figger gets out to about the 43-yard line. Bud Riley very impressed with the performance of Rick Johnson. He said that he has a very, very strong arm, somewhat reminiscent of Dieter Brock when Dieter Brock first came into the CFL with Winnipeg.
I just was watching. I know Bud said that a couple times now, so I'm kind of anxious to see him throw the football because I think everybody realizes the strength of Dieter Brock, and I've never really heard too many compared to him.
Second and 1. He lofts it out there. Great catch by Tag Rome. He really extended for that one.
That's a great play by Tag Rome, but you know, they talk about the strength of the arm. That's an awful nice touch, too. He just kind of laid it over top. Watch him, nice and easy. Just flick it out there. And watch the extension, as you say, Don. That's the way to go get it.
Tag Rome has really had a couple of fine ball games as a receiver for Calgary last week against BC and this afternoon against Winnipeg. Oh, he drilled that one in there to Rufus Cox. He can throw the ball.
Well, that's the style of throw right here. When you start evaluating a quarterback's arm, you want to see him go back and throw that wide hook to the outside man. Now, let's watch him. He gets back, gets set. Now, watch the arm. He drilled it in there. He didn't lay it. He threw it. He's got a good arm. A little experience is what he needs because he does do something you can't teach, and that's throw it.
First and 10 from the 27th. To Lewis Walker. He was hit immediately by Wiley Turner. He may have picked up a yard on the play. I played with Wiley Turner in the Winnipeg Blue Bomber golf tournament. He can crush a golf ball. Doesn't know where it's going all the time, but he hits it a long way.
Yeah, it amazes me. Even a lot of the professional golfers aren't big men, and they hit it a long way. You say Wiley Turner, he's not real tall either.
Movement at the line of scrimmage. No penalty flag. Now there's one. The pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Rufus Cox.
And for Rufus Cox was incomplete. There is a penalty marker on the play.
Something of a delayed flag on the movement by Brent Rousset, who tried to dance back.
Okay, he's into no man's land. Now, if he can get out of there, they won't call him.
All we needed there was a little musical accompaniment.
Yeah, we had 3 of them going all at the same time. It'd have been great. We usually don't see 3 of them dance till they score touchdowns.
The intended receiver, Emmanuel Tolbert, on 2nd down and 4 was overthrown. And like many young quarterbacks, not totally familiar with the team's offense, I think Johnson has some of the plays taped to his wrist.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't get a whole lot of work either. You know, with the coaching change just 2 weeks ago and Bud changing the offense around, Barnes has probably been doing all the work at practice, so he doesn't have too much offense to work with.
3rd down, Gamble. And he underthrew.
It's Open Tennis from New York City. It all starts at 1 Eastern.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line as the Calgary Stampeders failed to advance the football on 3rd and 4. John Hufnagel gives the ball to Willard Reeves, and he isn't going anywhere.
Willard Reeves carried the ball.
James Walker made the first contact, stopped him right at the line of scrimmage.
Gain of 1 yard and 2nd and 9. Ball at the Winnipeg 21.
Vince Goldsmith goes out of the ball game. Donnie Harris comes in as an extra defensive back. Hufnagel throwing to the sidelines. It's intercepted, picked off by Ron Hopkins.
That's great defense. Hopkins did not move one bit. He just sat right on Murphy, and when he made the break, he stepped in front.
Penalty marker on the play.
Holding. Winnipeg, 62. Decline. 1st down, Calgary.
There was also a penalty on the play. Naturally, it's declined. The holding call against Richard Namath.
Well, Leo, here we go. This program is copyrighted and strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. I didn't realize they printed them so big, so Leo could read that.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Lewis Walker should have had that one.
He must have a strong arm. That's a couple now that's bounced off the chests of the receivers. He hit Rufus Cox with one outside, and then Johnson. You see him taking a peek at his wrist there. It says, 2nd and long. Hope they don't blitz.
Well, Matt Dunnigan of the Edmonton Eskimos has plays taped to his wrist. Jones is after Johnson. He's got him. He threw the ball away. They rule it dead as Brent Rousset heads for the end zone. They rule that was a forward pass. I'm not sure about that call.
That was a tough one. I know Brent Rousset sure wishes it was a fumble. Well, we see him scrambling. Here comes Tyrone Jones. Now he gets him by the jersey and by the arm. Well, I think the fans have a point. They're booing a little bit. It looked an awful lot like a fumble.
Well, not only is it not a sack, but it's an incomplete pass. The ball goes back to the 30-yard line where it's 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and about 30. Jones is after him again, but he got away. It's picked off by David Shaw.
David Shaw timed that one just right. 2 interceptions today for David Shaw. Well, we'll see Johnson. He's going to, boy, David Shaw read it well. He had 1 interception coming into the day. Add 2, now he's got 3. You see the receiver slip a little bit, but it was behind him, and David Shaw right there to pick it off.
8:09 is the time left to play. That's what, the 7th turnover the Blue Bombers have forced this afternoon?
It's been quite a few.
James Murphy on the sidelines trying to get the first down. He fumbles the ball. Who's got it? Calgary has it. Mark Nelson comes up with that ball as it's squirted away from James Murphy. That's twice Murphy has fumbled that football this afternoon after making the catch.
Yeah, he's the only receiver over here. He makes the catch. This is twice today. After he's been hit, he's lost it. And when you see 4 white jerseys and you're the guy on the bottom, you're not getting it. It's gone. He's not going to be very happy with that. Nobody wants to ever fumble a football, and that's 2 today for him. He'll be disappointed.
1st and 10 Calgary. They are at the Winnipeg 38. They trail 40-6. Lewis Walker stopped at the 34-yard line.
These offensive linemen tape those hands up, don't they? They don't want to take any chances. They like to get all those fingers taped and the hand. Dan McCoas again. Gets right into Foley, spins out of there, makes the tackle on Lewis Walker. He's played well today.
Indeed he has. 2nd down and 6. Picked off again by Winnipeg. This time it's Jackson, the linebacker. Of course, when we see him over in Hamilton on Labor Day, I'm sure. 1st and 10 from the 44. Pat Kantner spins for about 4 yards. You know, it's looking more and more that the Western Conference pennant will not be decided until BC and Winnipeg meet in a period of 5 days. October the 6th here at Winnipeg Stadium, and then on the 11th under the Dome. Back-to-back games, and undoubtedly first place in the West will hinge on the outcome of those 2. Randy Faby into the ball game, replacing Jerome Erdman. Glenn Steele replacing Joe Poplawski. John Hufnagel replacing Tom Clements, and he's had a rough afternoon since taking over. Sacked that time by Stu Laird.
Well, Bernie Morrison has announced a couple times now he's come free up the middle and helped chase that quarterback out of there, and then Stu Laird's there to make the sack. So Stampeder defense coming to life. It's a little bit late, but got to keep going.
Bob Cameron punting into the wind. And again, a pretty good kick. Cox takes it at the 35-yard line, finds an opening, and then is straightened up at the 47. Langdon was downfield to make contact with him, along with Jerome Erdman.
I like Erdman and Paul floating down a little bit, and then Langdon leveled them.
Buzz and Boomer, the 2 Winnipeg Blue Bomber mascots. I really don't know which is which, and you know something else? I really don't care. But they do have a lot of fun at Winnipeg football games, entertaining the spectators. Johnson dumping it off to Emmanuel Tolbert. He gets the block, another downfield, and finally he's run out of bounds by Darrell Patterson at the Winnipeg 30-yard line.
Daryl Patterson.
Well, you watch, it's a pretty well executed play by Johnson, the quarterback. It's just a screen pass to Talbert. He'll fake a block and turn out. But watch the center. Bob Poley will come out here, and he'll level the linebacker. Excellent block. All right, you see Talbert set back. All right, now here comes the screen. You see Poley go out. He throws the block. Down goes Frank Robinson. He gets back up and gets hit again.
And Dave Kersinger had also pulled to the outside to put a block on Wiley Turner. So as you said earlier, Ron, a lot of times those linemen don't get the credit that is due them for excellent plays.
No, the only time you usually hear their name is when they're called for holding. You ever notice that?
It's about Al Wilson, the veteran center for the Lions. 3 days older than dirt.
Yeah.
He'll remember that.
I know that.
Here's the blitz, and Wiley Turner was coming from the backside with Frank Robinson. And they got him.
Well, they came at him with everybody. Coming from the left side of the screen, Wiley Turner, number 28, kind of just flies through the air, and then Frank Robinson coming up the middle finishes him off. So when Johnson ducks to get away from Turner, he steps right into Robinson, and that's 6 sacks today.
A 180-pounder out of Angelo State. They're after him again. This time it's Daryl Patterson in pursuit. He made contact just as Johnson threw the ball. Patterson's played well today.
Well, you know, Cal Murphy wanted that defense to play well, and there's 4 or 5 guys that have played outstanding defense for the Bombers today.
Yeah, it's going to be tough choosing a Carling O'Keefe defensive game star. Stan Mikolas, Daryl Patterson, Jackson, Roy Bennett, and the Bomber unbeaten record here at Winnipeg Stadium will be extended with only 3:57 remaining.
Well, that's the way it should be. When your teams come into your stadium to play, you ought to beat them. That's great. Oh.
Joe Jackson was pursuing Johnson, almost caught him, and then it was John Sturdivant who knocked the ball down. There's the rookie Pat Langdon at the Winnipeg bench. He was tending bar in Burlington, Ontario, I believe, last year. He was out of football, wasn't going to play.
I think he originally went to the University of Tennessee, didn't he?
Indeed he did.
And he was a bartender. That's right. I remember when they drafted him and sitting around down there and talking to Cal Murphy and the Bombers staff about it, and he had been out of ball for a year.
Nick Hebner was a bartender for a while, too, out on the West Coast, but that was when he was involved in a contract dispute and just wanted to get out of training camp, I think. James Murphy has a lot of blocking help.
Well, we saw this play earlier work just about to perfection. We're going to see it again. Here's the guy that does it, 33, Pat Kantner, will come out and block Larry Hogue. Now watch when he steps inside how many blue jerseys are in front of him. You see 33, here he comes. He's stalking Larry Hogue. Now the ball's caught, and he'll make the block. Blocking to the outside. Now watch.
And as the play moves ahead, watch the block that Jeff Boyd throws on number 43, John Vaughn, just at the top of the screen.
Great block. Of course, it would have been better if it had been a white-colored jersey, but great hit.
Willard Reeves is hit right at the line of scrimmage. Willard Reeves the next day always have a lot of laughs, and I'm sure there'll be some reaction among the Bombers. 2 plays, Lewis Walker being hit by Roy Bennett and that block that Jeff Boyd threw on John Vaughn. Do you think they'll react a little?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They're going to have a great laugh out of that. And Cal Murphy will be sure to point out to try to hit the opposition next time.
They were both going after Darrell Moyer, and Boyd wound up throwing a perfect block on Vaughn. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Hufnagel throws. The pass is complete on the sidelines to Glenn Steele. Very close to a first down.
Well, that hurt Steele's average a little bit. You know, he only had caught 1 coming in today, and it was for a touchdown, so he probably didn't want it unless he can get to the end zone. Just lays it right in there. Steele breaks to the sidelines. Cradle that thing in there when you're being hit and cover it up.
First down, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 12 with 2:30 remaining. Stampeders in this fourth quarter have substituted rather freely. Hofnagel throwing into the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Boyd. It was knocked away by Ron Hopkins.
He was covered on the play by Ronald Hopkins.
Ball just didn't get far enough. Got that left hand up there. Hopkins knocks it down.
And it's Winnipeg 2nd and 10 for the ball at the Calgary.
I was watching Glenn Steele. They kept him in the block that time at about 5'8" or whatever. And he cut the legs out of Stu Laird, the big defensive end. Now, I know he doesn't want to see that defensive end again for a while.
5'8", 180 pounds out of the University of British Columbia. The rookie Glenn Steele, number 34. Hofnagel won't get a chance to throw. Randy Troutman jumped on his back and brought him down back at the 21-yard line.
Troutman's big enough to cause some trouble, and when you don't have anybody in the backfield, like the Bombers had nobody left, all their backs were out of there, so when he throws that lineman away, there's nobody to stop him but the quarterback. And all the quarterbacks always, they know this, that when somebody's free, they'll pick them up.
Trevor Kennard will be attempting a 29-yard field goal. It's good. And the Blue Bombers increase their advantage to 43-6. Well, the Calgary Stampeders return home for a Labor Day date with the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a tough game ahead of them a week from today at Taylor Field in Regina. That traditional Labor Day weekend battle with the Rough Riders. When you were playing with Saskatchewan, that was always a very big game on the Rough Rider schedule.
Boy, it really was. It was just something about the Labor Day game at Taylor Field, and the Bombers had a lot of fans that would come over. We'd always have a packed house, and we always felt in those days that Winnipeg liked to play us. Whether they were any good or not, they loved to play us. They always thought they could beat us. Not on Labor Day, though.
Darrell Patterson after Johnson, the pass incomplete. They were trying to set up the screen, and yes, Lewis Walker, I think I'd want to kick that football too.
Well, they've had a little bit of trouble holding on to the passes of Johnson in this fourth quarter.
Calgary 2nd and 10 from their own 35.
Although David Shaw and Joe Jackson have held on.
Second and 10 with 1:52 remaining in the game. Pressure again, Jackson hitting Johnson just as he tried to dump off that screen. Actually, the back didn't even get out there. It was Kersinger who was out trying to throw a block, and he was the closest man to the ball.
And Wiley Turner on that screen would have been covering that back man-to-man, and he was right up on the line of scrimmage watching for it. So, you know, they hurt him with it once, but usually a good football team will adjust to it and not let him get hurt again.
Well, we talked at the start of the telecast about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offensive record and how this year they are ahead of last year in many statistical categories. This game will improve the Bombers' defensive record that was somewhat lacking. This is Glenn Steele, and he brings it back to the 53-yard line, and there are two injured Calgary players. Perry Cece took a tremendous hit back at the 27-yard line. He was decked as he came downfield to make a block. Cece, the rookie out of Guelph, really took a blow.
Let's hope that's not serious, because I think Cece's a pretty good football player. They'd hate to lose him.
Winnipeg 1st and 10. The Blue Bombers at their own 52 with 1:37 remaining. Willard Reeves finds a bit of an opening, but is stopped at the 50-yard line by the safety, Darryl Moyer.
They've tried to run Reeves today a little bit, but that Calgary defense hasn't given him much room to run. It's been the big bombs that Clemens has thrown in the first half, and Jeff Boyd caught that one for the touchdown, and then the easy one Poplawski got. It's been big plays by the offense, and that hit by Roy Bennett on defense was a big one.
2nd and 3. Willard Reeves again. He should have the first down. Bernie Morrison made the tackle on Blue Bombers' #1 running back. Of course, Morrison always enjoys coming to Winnipeg Stadium to play. He's a graduate of the University of Manitoba. Tony Norman, number 55, has not had a particularly good season, but his play this afternoon was definitely improved.
Well, you know, you said earlier, Don Sturtevant had those 2 sacks early. Well, Norman says, hold it. I want to get my share. And he has played well today.
1st and 10, Winnipeg from the 48. Right at the line of scrimmage, Pat Cantner was hit and driven back by Gene Beliveau.
Reading the article in the paper, Pat Cantner talking about he'd like to carry the ball a little bit more, him and Sean Kehoe both. And one thing about it, you carry the football, but you attract the crowd, too.
Primarily, Kehoe and Cantner employed as blocking backs. Willard Reeves is the #1 man as far as that Winnipeg ground game is concerned. And this time, Sean Kehoe fights inside the 45 to about the 43 with just 26 seconds remaining in the game. And I think the Blue Bombers are simply going to run it out. 3rd and about 6. And they shouldn't have any trouble taking that clock down. Willard Reeves is out, Kehoe and Cantner in there. The pitch to Sean Kehoe, and Kehoe is stopped short of the first down with just 2 seconds remaining in the ball game. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will stay 2 points behind the British Columbia Lions. The Lions recording their 6th victory last night, 21-11 over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the Blue Bombers now with their 5th win of the season. The Lions' lone loss to Bud Riley and the Calgary Stampeders last week. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lost their season opener to the Montreal Concorde and also lost to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Game next week to set up a pretty good game next week at Taylor Field.
Johnson throwing deep, and it's incomplete, and that will be the ball game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeating the Calgary Stampeders 43-6. And you know that man, Cal Murphy, has to be very that touchdown catch you made in the first quarter.